All right, good day. My name is Mike, and I am here with Empire Trucking School located in the city of Ontario. Today, we're going to be doing our air brakes for a CDL Class A automatic vehicle. When we start our air brakes, these are going to be the steps known for our school. When you get in, you're either going to have that key in your hand pocket or ignition, doesn't really matter. So, starting off, good day. My name is Mike, and I am here to do my air brakes and in-cab inspection. First and foremost, this is my seatbelt. It is properly secured and bolted on both ends inside the vehicle. It is not worn, torn, or frayed. My seatbelt clicks and unclicks freely, and I'll be leaving it on for the remainder of our test. Next, I'm going to explain my air gauges. We have our top primary gauge and our bottom secondary gauge. All of your readings are going to be based off your primary gauge only. My increments go by 15, starting with 0. 0, 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, 120, 135, and 150. Now, before I continue with the rest of my test, I have to secure or chalk my wheels. So to do that, you want to make sure that if you have the key in the ignition, always take the key with you for safety, put it in your front pocket. I'm going to grab my chocks and move them towards my footwell. At this point, when we open the door, once again, make sure you have that key with you, brakes are out. I'm going to go ahead and step out and we'll show you how to chalk the wheels. All right, so once you've placed the chocks by your foot, you want to make sure that when we're stepping out of the vehicle, you're going to hear that term, 3 points of contact. The moment you do something like this and take a forward step, this is a fail at DMV. So what we're going to do here is, doesn't matter what you're doing, both of your hands, one of your legs, 3 points of contact. I'm going to go ahead and grab any item of my cab. Always exit with your rear out or backwards. You never want to go forward. Because I've moved my chocks toward the front, it makes it a lot easier to go ahead and grab them. For the sake of safety, we always want to make sure that you take your key out of the ignition, bring it with you. Upon exiting, please close the door. Now, when it comes to the chocks, in an automatic vehicle, what I'm going to do is place the chock with the rings out. I'm going to place them about 1 to 1.5 inches away from the wheel, and I also want to leave it about a third of the way out. We're going to do that towards the front. We're going to do that towards the rear. Now, the reason that I suggest you leave them slightly out, if your vehicle decides to roll forward or backwards and they get stuck, we want to try to avoid kicking it at all costs. These chocks could be heavy. It could hurt your foot, probably break your toes. So let's assume that the chocks were to get stuck at some point. We would grab the one that's loose by the outside rim, and I would go ahead and smack them out of the way. So once again, to chalk your vehicle, you go ahead and place them about an inch or so away and probably about a third of the way out. So once I have my chocks in place, we're going to go ahead back in and I'll meet you inside. All right, so once we have chalked our wheels, we're going to go ahead and get back inside, close the door. First step is to place your seatbelt on. So when we grab our seatbelt, no need to explain it. We've already done so towards the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and secure my seatbelt. For the sake of the video, I'm going to wrap my arm around. Please don't do that at DMV. All right, so now that my wheels are chalked and secured, I'm going to perform a safe start and then build maximum pressure. In order to do the safe start, I'm going to go ahead and insert the key, turn my electricals on. So my ABS light has turned on. I'm waiting for my dash to clear. I always want to make sure your vehicle is in neutral, both of your brakes are out. Now for DMV, when you look at that primary gauge, you want to make sure that your primary gauge needle is under 100. If it's above 100, your cutoff will not happen. So in this case, sir, ma'am, to do this safe start, I'm going to go ahead and drop my air pressure under 100 in order to perform a safe start and build maximum pressure. I'm going to fan my brakes. So you're going to fan your brakes just enough to get it under 100 or 90. And now we'll proceed with the safe start. So once again, electrical's on, my ABS light turned on, waiting for my dash. ABS light and dash are now clear. Vehicle's in neutral, brakes are out. I'm going to turn my vehicle on. So the next thing I need to do is build maximum air pressure. My governor cutoff should happen between 120 and 140. Or you may say my governor cutoff and max pressure is no more than 140, no less than 120. I am going to assist my vehicle. When you assist your vehicle, you're going to gently press on the accelerator anywhere between 10 to 15 or 1,000 to 1,500 RPM. At this point, you are going to keep an eye on your primary gauge. We know that our cutoff is going to happen after 120. At the DMV, there's going to be vehicles in front, left, and right that might be doing their air brakes also. It is very important to keep an eye on your gauge and listen out for your cutoff. The cutoff might happen on the left or on the right. Please keep an eye. Ours will be coming up shortly. So there's my cutoff. You wait and make sure that your needle settles. So once you hear that cutoff, have legs off the gas. So for me, on my primary gauge, my needle has stopped at 130 psi. This was a good test because my cutoff is between 120 and 140 psi. Now, my first test is known as my applied air leakage test. For this test, I cannot lose more than 4 psi in 1 minute in a tractor-trailer combination vehicle. In order to start that test, I am going to turn my truck off. Very important, turn your electricals back on. To perform this applied air leakage test, I am going to release my tractor and trailer brake and press and hold my service brake. The sequence will be 1, 2, and 3. When you do that, you're going to wait for the needle to settle. So once again, for my applied air leakage test, I can't lose more than 4 psi in 1 minute in a tractor-trailer combination vehicle. I'm going to start by releasing my tractor, my trailer brake, pressing and holding my service brake. During this time, if you have a stopwatch, please reset it. Phone, watch, either thing works. When you do 1, 2, and 3, do not move your foot. Keep it firmly pressed against the ground. We are waiting for our needle to settle on our primary gauge. Now that might take a few seconds. Please be sure that needle does not move. For the sake of our truck, right now, my needle has settled at 95 psi. I will begin my minute now and give you readings every 30 seconds until 1 minute. Timer starts now. So when you do this, you gave them a reading. My reading was at 95. We're going to say for the sake of time, 30 seconds have gone by. My needle is now at 93. So far, I've lost 2 psi. For the sake of time, we're going to say it's been 1 minute. Boom. 1 minute is done. My needle is now at 92. I've lost a total of 3 psi. This was a good test because I did not lose more than 4 psi in 1 minute in a tractor-trailer combination vehicle. If your needle did not move and it stayed at 95, you would let them know I've lost 0. It is still a good test because I have not lost more than 4. Go ahead and release the brake. My second test is known as my low air warning light and buzzer test. My low air warning light and buzzer should come on no less than 55 psi. In order to do that, I am going to fan my brakes until my low air warning light and buzzer come on. When doing this test and you fan your brakes, you want to give the call out where your needle was the moment the light came on, not where the needle finished. So we'll start that test now. We'll do this in a 1-2 count. All right, my low air warning light and buzzer came on at 65 psi. This was a good test because it came on no less than 55 psi. My next test is known as my spring pop-out test. In order to do my spring pop-outs, I must fan my brakes until they pop out in between 20 and 45 psi. I'm going to do that now. Now note, in some trucks, both springs may pop out at the same time, or they may pop out one at a time. If they pop out together, you will only give one reading. If they pop out separately, be sure to give both readings. So once again, my spring pop out should be between 20 to 45. I'm going to fan my brakes. So we'll keep an eye on the springs. Be consistent with your fanning. Keeping an eye on them. There's one. I will not stop. And there's my second. So my first spring, my trailer brake popped out at 32 psi. My second spring, or my tractor spring, popped out at 27 psi. This was a good test because they both popped out between 20 to 45 psi. Now, let's say they both popped out together. We would give them one reading and say where that was. All right, so now that I've completed my spring pop out, my following test is known as a tug test, where I will be testing my tractor, trailer, and service brake. But before I do that, I must remove my chocks. In order to do that, please make sure your vehicle's in neutral, brakes are out, and we will take that key with us for safety. Now we're going to go ahead and exit, and we'll remove the chocks. Cool, so now that we are proceeding with removing the chocks, remember we just completed our applied air leakage test, low air warning, and our spring pop out. So before we can continue with our tug test, we must remove the chocks. Please make sure you take the key with you. Truck's in neutral, brakes are applied, 3-point contacts exiting the vehicle. Once I make it out, for safety reasons, again, I have that key in my front pocket, door is closed. When it comes to removing the chocks, if your vehicle rolled, please try to avoid kicking it with your toes. If you can, the heel of your foot, or if needed, you would just grab whatever chalk is loose and then we would smack it out of the way. In our case, we got lucky, so we're going to grab our chocks, place them on my steps, and when it goes to put in your vehicle, just to help you out, I'm going to push them into my floorboard and towards the center, up and away, so it's not disturbing me when I try to enter the vehicle. Once we get in here, you're going to do your 3-point contacts getting in, and then let's continue with our test. Okay, once inside the vehicle, safety first, we're going to go ahead and grab our seatbelt. We're going to put it on. Again, because of the video, I'm going to place my arm over. Please do not do this at DMV. So now that I'm back in my vehicle, we're going to perform a safe start for the second time, along with building max pressure for the second time. In order to do that, turn on my electricals, wait for my ABS light to come on. Now I'm going to wait for my dash and ABS light to clear. Okay, my ABS light and my dash are now clear. My vehicle's in neutral, brakes are out. Go ahead and proceed to turn it on for my safe start. So now that my vehicle's on, I have to build max pressure again for a second time. Once again, my governor cutoff should happen between 120 to 140, or no more than 140 and no less than 120. For that, I'm going to go ahead and assist the vehicle in between 1,000 to 1,500 RPM. And we'll go ahead and wait for that cutoff to happen, and I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so as we're reaching our cutoff, it is after 120. We're listening out for that air shoot or air blast. There it is. All right. So my governor cutoff, my needle stopped at 130 psi. This was a good test because my cutoff is between 120 to 140. Now that I built max air pressure, I am going to be testing my tractor brake, trailer brake, and my service brake. This is known as a tug test. To test my tractor brake, I am going to release my trailer brake, place my vehicle into drive, and I'm going to give it a little tug. For this, I'm going to grab the wheels, step on the gas gently. That was it. Neutral, brakes out. This was a good test because my tractor brakes held. Now I'm going to be testing my trailer brake. To test my trailer brake, I'm going to release my tractor brake, place my vehicle into drive, and I'm going to give it a little tug. All right, neutral, brake out. This was a good test because my trailer's brake held. Now I'm going to be testing my service brake. In order to test my service brake, I must release my tractor and trailer brake. I'm going to place my vehicle into drive. Now I'm going to palm open, gently hold the steering wheel. I'm going to drive forward no more than 5 miles an hour, and when I apply my service brake, my vehicle should not move to the left or the right. I will be performing that test now. All right, neutral, brakes out. This was a good test because my service brake held and my vehicle did not shift to the left or the right. This concludes my air brakes test in my Class A automatic vehicle. I'll now be moving on to our in-cab inspection, so I'll see you on the next video.